I don't expect this song to be highly acclaimed or highly esteemed by souls that striving for fame, looking for clout. Compared to our father's riches, your dollars is change. I learned who we are, never looked at the Bible the same. Frowns on their faces, I try to explain. They scratching their heads, I'm like, bear with me. Cause early on this knowledge was hard to retain. It led to blank stares, an awkward silence remains. Why the tribe's waking up after all of this time? His son's starting to shine and getting his daughters in line. What we call ourselves Jews, they call it a crime. How can I be anti-self? They got our hands tied. What we supposed to do nothing? I should just stand by. Said we can't wake them all up, so what we can't try? He took the flag out his pocket when they got baptized. Congratulations, eternal life is your grand prize. You going to paradise. I've been in this word all day, looking for the truth that was right in my face. There's nothing to say, but Abba have mercy, renew our strength. This truth is gonna set us free. We need mercy. There's nothing more I could say, but renew our strength. Point me to the ones that say the most prayers. Keep me far from the faith killers, the soul slayers. Chapter 3, verse 5, I'm in Hosea. In the midst of the furnace with no fear, my bros here. We walk out untouched. You know they gon' stare. The table is prepared. Oppressor gotta watch. Recompense his judgment. Shalom, shalom. Another thing about it, Thursday, your brother Azrael, the hopeful elect, hopefully finna give you some words of wisdom and some things to think about. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation, Salakia, of Israel. Right? Shalom to everybody that's gonna watch this. You could be doing anything, man. You could be partaking in the hella days or the folly days, right? You could be partaking in what they call as Thanksgiving today, but instead, we took some time to fellowship with the brothers over here at the Hopeful Elect, right? And shalom to those that will watch this video in the future that might not get on the live. Hope it's edifying to you. And also shalom to the cleavers out there, those that might not be Israel, but take their place, know their place, and know that our God is above all gods. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad of all shades and colors, different clans and tribes, right? Getting into this is going to be titled, You Don't Really Believe, right? You don't really believe. Think about it Thursday. So obviously it's a call to think about if you really believe in this thing or not, if you really believe in Christ or not, if you really have faith, right? So I got a few scriptures I want to go over just to prove oneself, right? We're always talking about proving a friend, trying a friend, but sometimes we got to prove ourselves, right? Because, for example, when these holidays come around, a lot of us, we give in to the family, right? Even though even in the New Testament, it tells us that we can't even give into family, right? A lot of people, that's people's weakness is family, 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 right? Everybody's blood over water. It's everybody's into their family, which is, it's not a problem to love your family, but we can't let that get in the way, right? There's been plenty of times where I've talked to people and they said, well, Austin, if my family can't make it into the kingdom, right? They say, hey, I don't want to go. I've heard that with my own ears. If my mom can't, I'm a mama's girl, I'm a mama's boy. My mom can't make it to the kingdom, I don't want to go. If my dad can't make it to the kingdom, I don't want to go. I know that they're not good people. I've heard that plenty of times, right? And so that's why the scriptures tell us over and over and over again, right? If you love your mom or dad more than me, you're not worthy. If you love your sister, your brother, your uncle, right? Your daughter. If you love any of these things more than me, you're not worthy. Hey, yay, even if you love your own life more than me, you're not worthy to be a disciple. You're not even worthy to follow him, right? Because all these things have been given to us. All these people have been lended to us for a time, and it's all a shadow, right? So holiday season come up, we know that spiritually these things are these are spiritual sacrificial rituals, as if you might say, right? When you have these dinners, it's a food offering. When you drink your different beverages, it's a drink offering, right? When you give presents and things of that nature on these days, those things are offerings unto idols, right? So, do you really believe? Do you really have the fortitude to say no? Do you really have the sanctifying power in you that Christ said that He would give each and every one of us to walk in the ways of Christ and shame the devil, for lack of better terms, right? Do you have the power to shame the devil? Do you have the power to tell somebody, no, I don't do that? That's pagan, right? Or are we shying away from the conversation? Or are we making exceptions because this is the only time of year I get to see my family. This is the only time of year where we get together and catch up. And are you that type of person, right? I want to tell you guys something, man. You have to ask yourself, do I really believe in what I believe in, right? Do I really believe in what I believe in? So the first scripture we're going to go to, right, getting straight into it, is Mark chapter 9 and verse 23. Straight out the gate, it says, and Jesus said unto him, right, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believe it, right? Meaning you can do whatever you want if you believe, right? A lot of us, we give excuses on why we can't give up certain foods right away. I've been eating this my whole life. I don't know too many dishes without it. It's passed down from my grandmother, and she's gonna have that bowl of chitlins there. And if I don't eat it, she's gonna be disrespected. And right. But do you really believe? If you really believe, you would have that power, right, to know that all things are possible. Meaning, hey, look, you can withstand those tough conversations. Even the power to stop smoking cigarettes. We talked to some people, some knowledgeable people on the streets, right? And they're knowledgeable, but they don't have enough knowledge to teach themselves what they're doing is killing their body, smoking them cigarettes, even them vapes, right? We all make the joke of we saw a video, and a brother made fun of this man on the street that was trying to tell him he was wrong about the Bible, and he said, I can't listen to anything you said. You saying you're a 30-year-old man sucking on vape, right? Vape has taken over the world, and it's something as minuscule as water vapor with flavors in it and nicotine has taken over the flesh to where it has power over one, right? So you got to believe in this thing to know that you have power over that vape. And as silly as it sounds, we have to be teaching our people that. We have to teach our people they got power, right? Because you are a son of God. What did Christ say? I am a son of God, right? Did not the Bible say that ye are gods, and you're mad that I'm saying that I'm the son of God, right? We're all children of God, right? As blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Negro descent, right? Who descend from the 12 tribes of Israel, right? We all are children of God, and we shouldn't be smoking on vape. We shouldn't be having a hard time or having a hard time putting away detrimental music in our community, right? We know right now it's a big uproar and a big riffraff of detrimental music in our communities, right? We got to be able to just cut it off cold turkey. And some people might be like, "Oh, you're being over righteous. We don't got to cut it off cold turkey. It's my journey, my path, right?" But some things you should just know better, and once you know better, you do better, right? Where does that come from? That comes from the Bible. Let's get that real quick. Let me go to Hebrews 10 and 26. Once you know better, you do better, right? It's no process, it's no journey, right? Even though we lied to ourselves. And if I'm being honest, I have lied to myself when I was first coming into truth, right? And because we say this lie to ourselves of everybody has their own path, everybody has their own journey, right? It causes us to take longer to come into the full knowledge of the truth. We're the only ones that stop that, right? Because we lie to ourselves, because we don't really believe. If you really believe, you wouldn't do it anymore, right? You would have the power to say, nah, I'm not celebrating no more. Nah, I'm not eating that no more. Nah, I'm not calling myself that no more. Nah, I'm not acting that way, right? Hebrews 10 and 26 says, for if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. So some of us, you know, we go out there and we teach people on our jobs, on the streets, in our families, and they receive it. Yeah, that makes sense. Boy, y'all smart. Y'all smart. You're smart. Wow, I never thought of it like that. Dang, you're wise for your age. Dang, you got a lot of wisdom in you. We teach people, they receive it, but what they don't do is they don't turn away from what they were doing, right? They acknowledge that it's wrong. They acknowledge that it's messed up. They acknowledge that it's true. But instead of taking heed to that and actually applying it to their life, they keep doing what they're doing because they don't think it's harming anything right now. I've been doing it so many years and it hasn't harmed nothing. So it's not going to harm nothing. At least now I know, right? Knowledge is only power unless you use it, right? If you don't use the knowledge, it's not power. At that point, you might as well not even know, right? It says, for if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Meaning, hey, look, Christ didn't die for you. You don't really believe, right? You don't really believe Christ can take the desire of lasciviousness out of your imagination, right? If you don't know what lasciviousness is, it's pretty much sexual immorality, right? Over sexualizing everything, if you would say, right? If you don't really believe, if you don't think that the Most High can take away your taste for drugs, right? A lot of us, man, we think that, oh, I gotta have this drug so I can relax. I gotta have this drug for medicinal purposes. And man, God told us over and over and over again, His righteousness, right, delivers us and gives us salvation, right? Over and over again, He tells us the power of God is able to heal us and save us, man. You don't really believe if you can't give that stuff up. You don't, and I'm saying it, right? A lot of people, they want to beat around the bush and but I'm saying it right now. You don't really believe. I don't care if you're old or young. I'm telling you right now, if there's something that you're struggling with that's detrimental to your life and you can't give it up and you know it's detrimental to your life, you don't really believe, right? And what do I mean by you don't really believe, man? There's some things that were given to us believers, to us that have faith, right? A lot of us, we don't believe God's going to put us in a position, even in our captivity, to provide for our families, right? And to keep the Sabbath day, right? A lot of us, we make excuses. Oh, well, we're in captivity and, God will understand and I'm not going to be over righteous. No, you're scared, brother. You're scared, sister. You're fearful that it might not happen because you don't really believe. He's given us stories and prophets and forefathers and foremothers over and over and over again that were in captivity that still made it happen. So he can do it for you. Those things are written for our learning, right? What else? Khan. So let me Salakia. Let me get another precept. The sister said Luke 9 and 23 says, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Right. And that's the thing, man. If you really believe, it's gonna be a right then type of thing. When he asked Peter and Andrew, right, hey, follow me. They didn't stop and think, well, I might see him tomorrow. I might see him next week. Right. They straight away say, hey, look, this is Christ. We gotta go. It's time to follow him. Right? Same thing with Philip, same thing with all of them, right? They didn't take 2 weeks or a month or a year, right? It's either you believe or you don't. Really, right? If you believe straightway, you're gonna drop your net and your rod, you're gonna follow him, you're gonna stop fishing because he's gonna make you a fisher of men, right? That's only if you believe though, right? Let me go to Salakia, John 14 and 12. right? Shalom to the sis, right? The book of John 14 and 12, it says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, right? What did it say? He that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, right? A lot of us, man, we think we need the doctor for everything. Christ was healing other people. You don't think he could heal himself, right? A lot of us, man, we don't really believe. So a lot of us, man, that's why we get super ill, super sick. That's why we get super depressed. That's why we get certain ailments, because as soon as you feel that pain, you just give into that pain. You don't really believe. When I feel pain, man, I might do the smart thing and lay off of that area for a minute or attend to that area. But the first thing I do, man, me personally, I go in the shower. Once I get in that shower, I pray over myself. You know what I'm saying? To keep myself whole, because I know the power that was given to me, right? So it said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. Meaning, hey, look, a lot of these things, he's talking about greater, and we tell people all the time, brother, sister, you can't give up cigarettes. You over here arguing with me, debating with me, but you can't give up cigarettes. You over here questioning on if I believe in the New Testament or not, or if I got faith. My faith tells me I don't need cigarettes. Your faith should tell you you don't need cigarettes. Your faith should tell you you don't need weed. Your faith should tell you you don't need nicotine or tobacco, or um, um, excessive amounts of alcohol, right? But you don't really believe. That's the only difference. The only difference is you don't really believe when you giving into things that are addictive, right? Addiction, whether that be uh too much of anything, too much TV, too much eating, too much of drugs, too much of drinking, right? If you got an addiction, you don't really believe, right? Yeah, I know that your flesh might be eating you up inside and it's hard to battle the flesh, but you don't really believe. I'm laying it on the line. You don't really believe if you struggle with addiction, right? Because if we actually understand the New Testament and what faith is and what belief is, right? Belief is not just saying it. It's not just claiming, and some people think it's just like claiming um, claiming a flag, claiming a color, right? You just claiming a set, claiming an organization, right? You can claim those things, right? But the only people that are influential in those things, right, are the people that actually believe in the system, right? Uh, the only, for example, if you're in a gang, the only people that are in a gang that are influential are the people that believe in that gang, right? Those are the ones that's dangerous, right? There might be some that just claim it for protection, right? You might just claim Christ for protection, right? But you don't really believe, right? When I was in a Greek fraternity, right? Um, there were some that claimed it just to have a brotherhood, but then there were some that believed that they were actually that, right? Their embodiment, for example, right? Omega Psi Phi, right? You have your Q dogs and Omega men and things like that. If you really believed you were an Omega man, that kind of set you above the rest, because you always trying to carry yourself, whether you're at home by yourself or whether you're in whatever, you're trying to carry yourself that way, right? If you're on a basketball team, if you believe that you're on the best team in the county, right, playing high school, right, you're going to carry yourself that way. You're going to be influential on your team because you actually believe in it. But there's some people, for example, Coach Prime, right? Coach Prime is say, one of his slogans, I believe, is believe, or is it? I know Coach Prime got a slogan that say believe in it. Let me look it up real quick on Google, right? Because he's always talking about it in his locker room to his players, right? And he'll always say, we got a couple of us on the team that don't believe yet, right? And we got a couple of us here on earth, man, that don't really believe yet. Some of them, they gotta be like, they gotta be like, one second. I think his slogan is "I believe," right? Right. So his slogan is "I believe," and he'll say in the locker room, you know, a lot of us we don't believe yet. The ones that are making the noise, they believe. His son, he believes. Both his sons, they believe. Hunter, he believed, right? Them the ones that's getting all the highlights. But that person that might be on the bench, he might not believe because he don't touch the field like that. That one person that might just be a role player, he might not believe because he don't get attention like that. Right? Some of us, because we don't have a big name in Israel. We don't have a big name, right? In our in a big congregation or a big following, or we don't get that many likes, or people don't really know us. We don't really believe. We just think that we're just claiming it for protection, right? We're just claiming to say that we're in this thing for I don't know for the trend, right? But that's all to say you don't really believe, right? You have to actually believe in these things for your life to change. If your life don't change, you look like the same person, if you sound like the same person, if you're still doing the same things, you don't really believe. You got trouble. For example, we'll move on. We'll move on. Don't want to get too deep into it. Uh, 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. Let's go there. Chapter 1 and verse 7. Just things to ask yourself. Thing you should be asking yourself every day when you examine yourself is, do I really believe? All right, 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7 says, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So he gave us the spirit of power, right? He gave us power, right? A lot of us, you know, we give in to fear. We give into the what if. We give into the doubt, right? Um, we give into routine, complacency, contentment, right? And that's because we don't really believe, right? You think by doing the bare minimum as a husband, or the bare minimum as a wife, or the bare minimum as a child, right? You think that that's gonna get you by, right? But he gave us the spirit of power, right? And he's called us to be new creatures, right? And not to rest in complacency, right? So sometimes, man, some things may give you frightened or get you frightened or give you fear, but just know that he gave you power, right? He gave you power to overcome, man. You know, you might run into some health problems with you or a family member. He gave us power to pray, to lay hands on, right? He gave us power to do better works than he did. But a lot of us, man, we just, at that point, a lot of us, some of us will go back into the world and do worldly things and say, you know, God wasn't really there. Some of us, you know, will give into drugs. We'll just give up, and that's because we never really believed to begin with, right? So let me see. So here go a quote from Coach Prime, right? It says, you got to believe when nobody else does. You got to believe even when you're not well, hurting and been to hell and back. You got to believe when it's popular not to believe. No matter what, you've got to believe. I do, and God don't want me alone. Let's go, Coach Prime, right? And that's a lot to say, man, because a lot of us, man, when we go to hell, should we never come back because we don't believe enough, right? Even when it's not popular, you got to believe, man. It's not popular to believe in the knowledge of the truth. It's not popular to be in the truth, right? It's actually the opposite, right? And those of us that's in the truth, we want it to be popular, but it's just not going to happen. But does that stop you from believing, right? Because the world operates on demon time, right? The world is set up, right, for you to not keep these commandments, right? You're going to give into that, or do you really believe in your salvation at the end of the day, right? So, Khan, man, that's a good tweet. I mean, a good quote by the brother. right? Um, I always go here, Second Timothy 3:5. Whenever we run into somebody that has a hard time quitting something cold turkey, because we always tell them, uh, we always encourage people that they can do it, that they actually have power to do it, right? A lot of people, they don't think they have the power. They think they need to take time. We always encourage them that, hey, we telling you you have the power to overcome what you're talking about, right? And a lot of times they get discouraged. A lot of times they get offended, and we say, hey, look, there's nothing to be offended by. We're literally telling you you can do it. That's and that's when they deflect like that, that's part of their disbelief. They don't believe. They don't even believe in themselves. Right? If you don't believe in yourself, how can you believe in Christ? Right? You got to believe in both. You got to believe in the power that he gave you. If not, then all this faith thing is null and void. You can say all praises to the most high all you want to, but you don't really believe. You can say that, Christ died for me, but you don't really believe. Right? When you get scared because you see some stuff on the news, you don't really believe. And I'm gonna tell you, like I said, young or old, sick or healthy, right? Famous or not famous, I'm gonna tell you straight up, you don't believe, right? It shows in your actions, it shows in how you treat life, right? It shows in how you treat yourself, right? But this is Second Timothy chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, having a form of godliness. Some of us, we put on a persona of godliness, we put on a persona of righteousness, a persona of, yeah, I got faith, a persona. A lot of us will give counsel, right? I believe in Job, right? And we'll go there after this, see if I can find it. I think it's in chapter 4 when Eliphaz was telling Job, hey, look, hey, weren't you one that used to help the blind and help the homeless, and you used to be the one to pray for people, but now that you're being afflicted, you don't know what to do, right? A lot of us, we have a form of godliness, but when it comes to us, when it comes back to us, it's shown clear as day that we never really believed to begin with, right? So having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. What power? The power that he gave you, right? When he went back to the Father, he gave us power. He gave us the Spirit. The Spirit gave us power, gave us that fire, right? You were supposed to be baptized in that fire, and you're supposed to get power from that. So from all those people that have a form of godliness but deny their power that was given to them by God, guess what? You got to turn away from them people because it's contagious, right? Fear is contagious. Doubt is contagious. That's why it was encouraged to us in the law, if any man is afraid or frightful or fearful, let them stay back at home with the women and the children. We can't have them going to battle. We'd rather win the battle with few numbers than to have people scared on the battlefield, because it only takes a few people to leaven the whole lump, and it only takes that to spread, and next thing you know, your whole army scared. The whole army want to surrender, right? And that's what's going on now, man. We have a bunch of surrenders, and all on social media, all in the music, all on TV and podcasts and YouTube, and everybody's just giving in because they don't believe, right? You done given up on men because you don't believe. You don't believe God got somebody for you. You done given up on women because you don't believe, brother, right? You don't believe God got somebody for you. You done given up on family because you don't believe, right? You don't believe God can heal the womb, right? You don't believe God can heal your pockets because you broke. You don't believe God can um, make a way out of no way when it comes to little things that happen that inconvenience you in your life. You don't believe. And it's up to us to ask ourselves, do we really believe in the power that God gave us? That you can actually pray things? The world, look, if the world, the world, if they can manifest things for themselves in the world, if they could pray to crystals in the world and things will happen, if they could build altars and throw sticks and bones and things will happen for them, you don't think that if you pray to the only true God that things won't happen for you, right? A lot of y'all don't, because you don't believe. Right? That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand is you don't believe, right? This is the power that he was talking about, right? We all know this. right? We all know this. Right? Christ said this, or Christ left this for us. This little nugget, it says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. That's the power he's talking about. You can do all things. We tell brothers and sisters, I can't do it, man. Pork too good, man. Can't do it. I love seafood. Hey, you can do all things. I can't do it, man. Can't do it, man. Not this time. Maybe next time, man. You know, they expected me to be there. Hey, look, Christ said you can do all things. I can't stop smoking cigarettes. I've been smoking cigarettes all my life since I was 17 and I'm 66. Man, you can do it. You can do all things. I can't keep all those commandments and all those laws. It's impossible. Like Christ said, you can do all things, right? Tell the truth and shame the devil, man. You can do all things. You just don't believe. You don't really believe, and therefore it's holding back your knowledge and your understanding of what this book is really all about. Right? Let's get right. Let's get Luke 17:5. Let's get an example. Luke chapter 17 and verse 5. Right? It says, and the apostles said unto the Lord, increase our faith. Some of us, we got to be real with ourselves, and that needs to be a daily prayer. Increase our faith, increase my faith. My faith is too little to change my situation right now. My faith is too little to even believe there's hope. My faith is too little for me to not give this addiction up, whatever that addiction might be. You know, some of us, we make all the excuses in the world. Well, you know, this music really isn't that bad. You know, it's really poetic and it's really, you know, our people really know what they're talking about. It's really spiritual. No, brother, no, sister, that music is demonic, right? Well, you know, I really I really think that, you know, the holidays is the perfect place to, you know, spread the word, brother. And it's okay if I get a plate because, you know, it'd be disrespectful if I go and I'm trying to, you know, break bread with them spiritually and I don't take it. No, brother, no, sister, right? Ask the Lord to increase your faith. It can be done otherwise in other places. Right. I remember it was one time we were doing a group fast and one of the things in the group fast, because we usually have like things we do throughout the fast, it was um, share the gospel with somebody throughout the day. It could be a stranger, it could be somebody on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it could be, you know, and the day was coming to a close. And I remember I was like, man, I was praying that God just send somebody my way. Out of nowhere, I seen a shirt walking down the street while I was driving on the sidewalk with a tetragrammaton on it. Out of nowhere. I'm talking about out of nowhere. Tetragrammaton is the Hebrew writing for the Lord's name, right? The Hebrew writing for Jehovah, right? Which we know is Yahweh, right? I seen that walking down the street in a black hoodie, and I was like, what the heck? So, you know, I slowed down, turn around, and the brother needed a ride to the train station. So I was able to give him a ride to the train station, right? The Most High God, when the Most High God know that you trying to please him, he'll make a way for you to please him, right? But you got to believe and you got to have faith and you got to be looking, right? You got to be looking for a way out. A lot of us, we don't believe, so we don't even look for a way out, right? But a lot of us, we need to make this and take this into consideration that even the apostles, right, said increase our faith, right? Luke 17:6. And the Lord said, if ye had faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye might say unto this sycamore tree, be thou plucked up by the root, and be thou planted in the sea, and it should obey you, right? Meaning, not the size of the seed. It didn't say if you have faith the size of the seed. No, it says if you have faith of the seed, because the seed, even though the seed is small, even though we might be small, if we have large enough faith, the seed knows, right? If you have large enough faith, you're gonna know something is gonna happen and it's going to do as you say. Meaning that seed knows it's gonna produce a lot of mustard, right? So that's what it means to have the faith of a mustard seed. That mustard seed knows, right? That mustard seed has faith that it's gonna produce a lot of mustard. You gotta have faith, right? And you're the grain, right? Your faith is not the grain. You are the grain, right? And you got to have faith that you're going to produce a lot of mustard. A lot out of your mouth, out of your belly should flow rivers of living water in every situation that you're in, right? And it said it should obey you, right? So your addiction should obey you, right? Your bad situation should obey you, right? Your bad relationship should obey you, right? The things you struggle with should obey you. You're struggling to give up seafood, shellfish, right? You man, your body, your flesh should obey you. You're struggling to give up pornography. Your body should obey you, right? And if your body doesn't obey you, I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't believe. If you give in to your flesh more times than you conquer your flesh, you don't believe, right? You're supposed to die daily, right? That's why the sister said, that's what die daily means. And the scripture that she sent, it says, deny himself and take up his cross daily. That's what it means to die daily. You're taking up your cross, man. You're persecuting yourself. The wants that you want, you're you're telling yourself you don't need them no more. You don't want them no more. And you're cutting cold turkey. If you don't have the faith to cut cold turkey, it's because you don't believe, right? And I once was an advocate of, everybody has their own journey, let them take their time. But when we see these people in the scriptures, right? And we always go to this right here when we talk about repentance on the street, right? Psalms 119, right? We always make excuses, but the men and the women of the Bible, they didn't make excuses. So where did we get that example of, oh, maybe not this time, but next time? Yeah, I'm on my journey. My relationship with God is different, right? Where do we get that ideology or that train of thought from? Because when we read in the Bible, this is what the Bible tells us, right? Psalms 119 and 59 says, I thought on my ways. Right? Once you think on your ways, right, you already know if you're doing something wrong or if you're doing something good. You already know. It says, I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimonies. Meaning, he thought of you think about what you're doing and you're going to the Bible to either condemn yourself or to to praise the action that you did. Right? Verse 60 said, I made haste. Right? We tell people when we read this, we say you make haste, meaning, hey, look, it's no waiting. Right? I think, dang, I really shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be eating that. Go to the testimonies. What the Bible say about it? Yeah, the Bible confirms I shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, the Bible confirms I shouldn't be surfeiting, right? Surfeiting is what? The overindulging of anything, right? You shouldn't be doing anything too much. Too much of anything is detrimental. Too much sugar, right? In fruit, sometimes can be poisonous. Too much water, right? Will flush out your system, you'll kill yourself, right? Too much of anything, even a good thing. That's why the Lord said he needs a just balance, a just weight, right? So you might say, you know, man, I shouldn't be doing this, but let's see what the Bible got to say. Turn yourself to the testimonies. Oh, the Bible actually says that, I can do this, Okay, and there's certain instances where the Bible will say you're okay, but it's never my journey, my way, my relationship with God. It's always check the testimonies first, see what God has to say about it. If God don't like it, stop it right then. That's what it means by I made haste, right? I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments, right? It's more on that. Verse 61, Salakia, that was it on that, right? So I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments. And that's how we all should be. We should all make haste and delay not if we believe, if we truly believe, right? Um, let's go to Matthew 14 and 31. The book of Matthew, chapter 14 and 31. We'll start at 30. We'll start at 29. So this is a good example to read. It's a good example to read, right? Because this could be compared to all of our lives, right? Like Peter. Because keep in mind, like I said, man, even the apostles, right? The ones that was sent out to preach the word. Hey, look, even they had to ask the Lord to increase their faith. And here's an instance of Peter doing that, right? Matthew 14:29. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. Hey, look, that's what you call belief. That's what you call I believe, like Coach Prime say, right? When you walk on that water and you come to Jesus, right? But do you really believe? A lot of us, man, when we heard that first call, we came, we believed right away because it sounded good. But then the cares of this life choked us out, man. The cares of this life started, knocking on our door, and we were tempted to open the door, right? And remember what we said earlier, man, that fear come in, that doubt come in, right? And sometimes that fear and doubt is the ultimate test of if you really believe or not, right? A lot of times is people say fear is just a figment of the imagination, but to some people, fear is real, right? But you got to understand, hey, look, there's something more real than fear. The person that created fear, right? You got to understand, hey, look, the person that created fear, he the one that you should fear, not the fear itself. Matthew 14:30 says, but when he saw the wind boisterous, a lot of us, when we see that wind in our life, whether it be an itch to do something, like I said, with addictions, whether it be something that came out the clear blue, smacked you in the face, and now you're broke. Now you without a job. Now you without a child. Now you without a wife. Now you without a husband. Now you without a mom. Now you without a dad. It might be winds in your life that throw you off course, that may, tempting and try you to see if you believe, right? It says he was afraid. Peter was afraid. And I'm not saying that a lot of us, we can't get afraid. I'm not saying if you get afraid, that don't mean you believe, right? But when you get afraid, what do? Are you going to take your eyes off the prize? Are you going to forget, right? Is being afraid going to cause you to forget the power that you have? Or is it going to spark something in you, right? To stand up, right? Like when we're reading in the Maccabees, right? He said, hey, look, all those that's zealous, right, and want to keep the law, y'all follow me. They were scared, right? But you can either let that frightenness or that scaredness fuel you, or you can let that scary situation shut you down, right? There's some dogs or some animals, you get them scared enough and trap them in a corner, and look, they liable to just go rapid, go crazy on you. Then there's some that'll just shut down, right? So which one are you? Right? It says, wind with and the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. Right? The Most High God is saying that he gave us power, but a lot of us keep saying, save me, save me. Just like a lot of us keep saying, I want to hear from God, but he doesn't speak to me. Man, he done left the whole book with nothing but words, right? He's speaking to you every day. You just don't want to hear, right? So you saying, save me. He done gave you the power to be saved and told you to work out your own salvation, but you want to take the easy way out and want him to save you. Because some of us, we need to see to believe. Some of us, man, we don't have the evidence of things hoped for, right? We need to see to believe. And if we don't see to believe, we kind of just doing this thing on routine just in case it's true. And if you're doing it just in case it's true, you don't believe, man, and you're not worthy of the kingdom. Right? Let's keep reading. Right? It says, and immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? A lot of us have little faith. And that's why I said it didn't say the size of a mustard seed, right? It didn't say the size of the grain of seed. It said the size. I mean, it didn't say size at all. It just said uh, have the faith of this grain of seed, right? Because a lot of us have little faith, and we see here that little faith is not something good. A lot of us, man, you get on the radio station, and those radio people on the Christian channel be like, man, you just gotta have a little faith, man. You just gotta have God's gonna reward you with a little faith. You hear these pastors, man, you gotta have little faith. Hey, look, that little faith is gonna keep you in your addiction. That little faith is gonna keep you in your bad situation. That little faith is gonna keep you in depression. You got little faith, right? You don't really believe, right? You need more. You need so much faith that you don't doubt. A lot of y'all go to sleep at night with doubt in your mind. Walk around the day with doubt in your mind. In your car driving, you got to blast music because you're trying to shut out the doubt in your mind, right? Because you don't really believe. You got to always be constantly reminded. Got to always be right. It ain't nothing wrong with getting counsel from brothers and sisters, but if you getting counsel all the time from brothers and sisters, you calling one brother and getting his counsel, calling the next brother, getting his counsel, calling one sister, getting her counsel, calling the next sister, getting her counsel, and you never really take the time to just figure it out on your own with the Bible and with prayer and fasting, you don't really believe, right? Your doubt should not be making you sink like Peter, right? But let me see what else I got. But yeah, man. So let's see what to say. That little faith is going to tell you that you really don't need to fast and pray for real. That little faith, right? You think that you got so much faith that you don't need to fast and you don't need to pray, but that's really deception. That little faith is telling you, hey, sit back, chill, right? There's something about fear sometimes where cognitive dissonance takes place, and we just shut down and we put out everything that could go wrong. We put it out our mind and we just kind of relax, right? Because we don't want to deal with it, right? But let me tell you, that's evidence of not having faith, right? Having faith doesn't mean be lazy. Having faith doesn't mean, right? I know one time my dad brought this out before, and he was saying, yeah, you wait on the Lord, but while you're waiting on the Lord, you should be serving the Lord, right? When you look at that word waiting or waitress or waiter, right? They're waiting on you hand and foot, but it's just a synonym for serving you, right? You should be serving, right? You should be actually working out your own faith. All right. A lot of us, man, we get lazy, and that's because you have a lack of faith. You don't think that fasting really works. You don't think that praying really works. So that's why you don't do it, right? But like I said, man, some high points I just want y'all to think about is when it comes to addictions with drugs, when it comes to holidays, you can't say no to family members, when it comes to jobs, when you're trying to pick what job to stay at, what job to go to next, when it comes to, you know, unclean food, right? These are just little basic little things that we have to get our people to come to the knowledge of and to start following God with. When it comes to these things, you got to ask yourself, do I really believe? Because 9 times out of 10, if I tell you God said, let's read what God said in Leviticus 11. He said, stop eating shellfish. Are you going to do that, brother? You going to do that, sister? I don't know. I love me a crab boil. Then you ask him, all right, if I had if I had a trust fund and I'm a millionaire and I tell you I give you $1 million right now, if you never pick up shellfish in your life, would you do it? I'll shake on it right now. You know how many people are gonna shake on your hand? You know why? Because they don't really believe in the most high God. They believe in that money. They believe in man, right? So we gotta ask ourselves daily, do I believe? Right? This thing that's taken me forever to get done. If somebody gave me a certain amount of money, would I stop cold turkey? Right? You got to check yourself sometimes, man, and ask yourself, do you really believe? So hopefully this gave you something to think about. Your brother Azrael from the Hopeful Elect. Another Think About It Thursday. Shalom. Peace.